Hello, this is a training for the MD Connect Performance Portal. In this training, users of the Performance Portal will learn how to process referrals generated by the MD Connect marketing program. MD Connect is a marketing firm that specializes in clinical trial recruitment, and we work with sponsors, sites, as well as a call center to screen these referrals and get them to what we call appointment-ready status. So site coordinators and folks at the investigator site can call these referrals back and get them into a screening. So before we go into the portal, I'm actually going to show folks just a little big picture flow of how referrals are generated and screened with our call center. The first step in the process is our media channel sources. So a subject might see an ad on Google, Facebook, Bing. We also do print and radio. But the commonality there is someone is responding to an ad. Once they've responded to an ad in the flow, they go to our online pre-screener. The online pre-screener is hosted on a website, and the purpose there is really to determine basic study qualifications. We ask a handful of questions to see if that subject might qualify for the study. Here's an example of the website itself. Right now we're running diabetesstudy.org. That's the URL. You can visit that. And at that website there's all manner of information about the trial, as well as about qualifications on the trial. There's also information about clinical trials in general. But the user is at this site to learn more about the clinical trial, as well as to start what we call the online patient screener. And here's an example of that. It's generally 7-8 questions to start that very first step. So once that first step is taken and we have interest expressed by the user, what happens is the call center will screen that lead. And what that means is they'll call them up for further clarification. They'll explain the clinical trial, they'll review commitment to travel, and they'll ask additional qualification questions, mostly of clinical nature. The real goal here is to get that subject to what we call a referral that's appointment ready. So really, all you need to do is call that referral back once they've been call center screened and get them into the clinical trial site location. So here's how to access the portal. The URL where you'll receive your leads or your referrals is portal.mdconnect.com/login. Everyone who is using this software will receive this training guide. It's 17 pages long, and the video will really just walk you through exactly what's in the training guide itself. So the first screen you'll go to is the login screen. You'll put in your username and password. So let's start talking about the next step in the process, which is actually receiving the referrals. Referrals will come from the call center one of two ways. If the call center is speaking to the subject during the investigator site's business hours, they'll attempt what we call a warm transfer if the sites are actually set up for warm transfer. If you've opted into warm transfer, this is a good way to get the patient on the line in real time. They'll simply call the site coordinator, get them on the phone, and transfer the patient over. If warm transfer is not possible, everyone at the site level will receive an email when a referral is generated, and at that point in time, you would log into the portal. So the login screen looks like this. Pretty simple layout, username and password. Everyone who is on the system will receive a username and password via email from MD Connect. Once you have that, you would log in and you would see what we call the open referral screen, and that's just in this drop-down menu here. It says open referrals. It will log how many open referrals exist. So let's say this subject just came in and I wanted to contact that record. You would just simply click the button, View Record. This is the record screen, and there's all manner of information here. Most of it is fairly self-explanatory. I'll go through this and I'll show a couple items on the workflow from moving that patient from open referral to actual scheduled appointment. So I'll just scroll through here so you can get a quick visual of this screen. So on this screen, there's a bunch of information. We'll just start from the top down. The first is about the patient and their current status, referral qualified, which means they have gone through the online pre-screener, and they've also talked to a call center specialist who's asked them additional clinical questions as well as confirmed willingness to participate in the trial. If you want to navigate through the screen with a little less information, you can collapse each of these modules, and the critical information name, last name will remain. Right here is requested appointment times. What that means is the call center rep has talked to the patient and confirmed times that work for the subject. These are not times that are appointments in the investigator site system, but these are merely requests. So Nick has said, gee, I'd like to come in on March 29th at 9 a.m., and the next step in the process is to confirm that time, to make sure that appointment slot is still open at the investigator site. And of course, we'd call them or we'd email them. We'll go over that in a second. So going down the screen here, underneath the appointment request times, the first module is online pre-screen results. So these are the answers that the subject has given at the website over here. So that data is output in this module. It's delivered in the open referral as a collapsed item, and you can just scroll back and forth this way. The next bit of data is all of the questions that have been asked by our call center. So this screening can take anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, but they're spending a significant amount of time on the phone with this patient. So when you receive this referral, they are more effectively clinically screened, and they're ready to come in to the investigator site. If there's anything during the call that comes up of special note, this is where you'll see it. This patient screener notes are notes that are taken during the actual phone call. For convenience here, you can actually minimize that window so you have all of your important information right at your fingertips. So once you're ready to contact the patient, we offer two ways to contact the patient. One is via email, which is here. So if you wanted to display it, email address, it would be logged there. The other would be to call the patient, which is what everyone would do. So to display the phone number, you would simply click display phone number. We also have built this feature for convenience called click to call. The click to call feature was built for convenience sake if you say needed to go through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 referrals and you didn't want to dial every single number yourself. You can actually enter your own phone number here and the system will do the dialing for you. So the way this works is you enter the phone number that you'd like to talk to the patient on, and it actually dials your phone number first. You'll hear your phone ring. When you pick up, it automatically dials the patient's preferred number, and then connects the two. So that's a great feature if you need to get through a lot of calls and you don't want to dial the phone numbers, and perhaps you eliminate any errors that way as well. But either way, that's a convenience feature you don't have to use. So let's say you talk to the patient. One of two outcomes can happen right now. Either the appointment request that was taken at the call center, let's say that time works for you, and that time slot is open at the investigator site, and you're speaking to the subject, and that time still works for them, you would hit confirm. You'll notice when I hit confirm, that status of the patient automatically changed to appointment scheduled here as well as here. And that's a convenience feature, so you don't have to remember to change that in the drop-down. Each of the statuses are explained in this tooltips window that you can access via hovering. So let's say that appointment time works, you would hit update, and that record will be moved to the appointment bucket, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's say the patient says, oh, wait, I can't come in at 9, I need to come in at 9:30. That's an easy change as well. You would just use this calendar feature, hour, minute, to get the right date and time that works for the patient. So after you're done speaking to the patient, you would update this record and go back to your open referral screen. So as you'll notice in the open referral screen, Nick has actually been moved out. Where is Nick right now? Since he's an appointment, he's actually in the appointment screen. So let's go and take a look at that. So here's the appointment screen. You can see the disposition has been changed to appointment scheduled. And what everyone needs to do at the investigator site level is keep this record updated. So once that appointment has come in and the appointment has passed, you would need to update that patient's status over here. So one of several statuses can occur after that appointment happens. They've consented, they've randomized, maybe the appointment didn't show up, or maybe they haven't consented. So let's review each. So if they'd consented, you would enter that date here as well as the ID of the patient found in the IVRS. So here's the appointment screen. You can see here the screen is a lot like the referral screen. The count of how many records will be up at the top, and the actual records are listed in the body area here display. So here's Nick. We'll go ahead and we'll view his record. So the only required tasks on open appointments is to update the status once the appointment has happened. And let's talk about that and where that would happen. So this appointment schedule date that we're looking for everyone to have in this field is outlined right here. It is the screened appointment date in the IVRS. If this appointment date that was entered at the first touch is the screen visit date in the IVRS, no updating needs to happen in this appointment field. The portal is designed only to house one appointment date, and that appointment date that's in this field needs to be the screening visit date in the IVRS. So once the appointment happens, once that screening visit happens, several outcomes can happen. They can consent. Further on down the line, they can randomize. Perhaps the appointment doesn't show, or maybe they haven't consented. So we'll review a couple of these statuses that will need to be updated. So in consented, once they've consented, they have a patient ID. You would enter that here. Once again, no need to change the appointment date if that is indeed the screening visit date in the IVRS. that's something you'd want to double check. But updating that patient ID is the only action that would need to happen. If they have randomized, once again, just change the status, patient ID, make sure that that syncs with what's in the IVRS. If the appointment has not shown up, you'd want to log that in the status as well. You might consider that lost to follow-up, other, or a no-show. Lastly, perhaps the appointment has not consented. Once again, if they have not consented, the patient ID would be entered in this field. Once you have the correct patient status as well as the patient ID, you've checked to see that the appointment date listed in this field is the IVRS screening visit date, you'd hit update record and you're done. So that's really the functionality of the appointment screen, is to make sure that that IVRS screen visit date, and if you have a patient ID available after consent, is recorded in that correct field. So really the tasks you have at this point is to manage appointments and referrals. If you needed to get back to the referral screen, you would simply navigate to open referrals. So the next thing I'm going to show you is what happens if you make a mistake. So let's say you have an appointment here and you have this record and gee, they haven't consented, and you want to change their status and you can't find this record. No, that's messed up. So why are they an appointment something? The last little bit of record updates that I'm going to show people is what happens once there is a site screen fail. If that's the case, you'll notice after the status of this record, here they've been changed to consented, go in and do this record, that there could be a site screen fail. If that's the case, once they've moved to the status consented here, you'll notice there's another option to record site screen fail. And if that is the case, there are several common reasons that can be selected here. Let's say their BMI is not exactly what they said in the online pre-screener or by the call screener at the call center, and actually they come in and they site screen fail because of BMI. You would choose that reason and hit update record. Or let's say there's an other reason, maybe G didn't want to travel. Upon further talking to that subject, you would note it there. But either way, the site screen fail after the status is consented becomes an option in this drop-down to choose from. You'd select the reason, make sure the patient ID syncs with the IVRS, patient ID, and you'd update the record. Once they have been statused, you'll notice Nick is no longer in this appointment date. I'm going to show you now an advanced feature that, let's say, gee, I put in that Nick and I failed him and I made a mistake. How would you get that record back? The way to do that would be to go to all records, and the command is Control F. I'd search for Nick up here in this window, hit enter, and I'd see Nick here, and I can get him back. You'd see site screen fail is the reason. Go in and view Nick, and I can get him back. And it wasn't a site screen fail. Let's say I actually meant to say consented. I would just change that and update the record. So really, those are the basics of the portal. The main tasks that everyone will be doing are really just managing open referrals and open appointments. If at any time you need to find a record that you somehow have miscategorized, you do so under all records. We want feedback on the software. If there's any, please feel free to send it to myself or Nick Whitbeck. And good luck with the portal, and we look forward to successful programs. Thank you.